I asked ChatGPT to ask me 55 questions around VeeFriends, and I'm going to answer them. Why 55? 5 is a thing in VeeFriends. So let's start. What's something VeeFriends taught you about yourself that surprised you? Something about it. I think to believe in myself. I think it's more the VeeFriends community which is a big part for me for VeeFriends. And that I have more of these traits than I thought. I think there's so many traits we don't really think about on a daily basis, but by talking a lot about VeeFriends and talking to different people who have different VeeFriends and like what they embody, I've really thought more about what some of these traits mean, what they mean to me, and definitely learned that I have more of them and embody more of them than I thought I did. So that was cool. What was the moment you knew VeeFriends was more than just collectibles for you? Probably the first stream, really. I've never been a collector before, but I joined the first stream and instantly everybody welcomed me and answered my questions and was extremely kind. And there was this one moment. I was super involved because I wanted to know what this is. I've never been like on the app before and everything. And Adam, who was the host together with Connor, asked the chat, they were putting up a giveaway. And he said, do you guys want me to put up this pack up as a giveaway or give it to Anne? And the entire chat wrote Anne when nobody knew who I was. And that was such a weird, overwhelming moment that a bunch of strangers would give me this pack that they could have a chance to have. I think that was I think that's when it first hit me that these people are different. That these people don't care as much about their personal gains and are more about wanting everybody to win. And that was probably the first moment it hit me. And then after that, just involving myself in the community and getting welcomed by so many people, and people asking like, hey, I have these extra cards, I would love to send them to you and your daughter, or somebody sent us the Uno game so we could play it together. And just it was little moments like that where I really felt like this community is different. Like there's something special about these people, that they're so welcoming and they want you to be here and they want others to be successful. And I think that was a really special thing. That's when I knew that VeeFriends was for me. What's the best moment you've had at a VeeFriends event or stream? Oh gosh. So many. I mean, best moment, IRL, I would say VCon. All of it. There wasn't like one specific moment. It was just meeting everybody for the first time and just like in real life, like really seeing them and hugging them and being able to have a conversation with them, I think was such a special moment for me. And on live stream, gosh, there were just so many of them. So many. I think it's almost there were so many beautiful parts that I'm so grateful for. I've gotten so much love doing streams. Like it's overwhelming at times, but I think one of my favorite moments was when something negative went down right before a stream, and then having that support from the community and the build-up. I think that was really special for me, that people are not just here to root for you when things are going well, they're also here when things are not going well, and they have your back. And they have your back even when you're not around. And I think that was a really special moment. What's the most underrated VeeFriends character or collectible in your opinion? Well, it's clearly the Respect for Raccoon. Collectible in your opinion? Underrated collectible is still the comics. That's where the stories happen. That's when you can really, not just the comic books, but also like the daily comics and the Sunday ones. that's when I feel like you can really learn about these characters and traits and like how to embody them, how to use them in your daily life. And I think that's probably still one of the really underrated part of VeeFriends. If you could bring one VeeFriend character to life for a day, who would it be and why? It would be multiple. One, I would bring my raccoon to life just to spend the day together and make content together. That would be epic. I would probably also bring one to life that I don't really know the meaning behind yet. Things like Toronto and St. Louis, or who was born in 1997, and then just hear the story from them would be cool. And probably also characters that I still have a hard time with. Like, focus is really hard for me because of my ADHD and organization, and maybe organized ostrich and would be a good one, or focus falcon, to maybe teach me some of those things. What would make you feel like your time and energy here was truly worth it? Ooh, what would make you feel like your time and energy here was truly worth it? If I make it VeeFriends specific, I think it already is. I think I have gotten the time and energy I've spent in this community and with this IP, I've gotten back tenfold. And just the conversations I get to have with people, the people I now get to call friends and family, the doors open for me because of being part of this community, my horizon being expanded because of thoughts and ideas and beliefs that others shared with me that were different from my own and just really helped me grow. So I felt like it was already worth it. If Gary Vee were watching this, what would you want him to hear from you? I don't know. What do I want Gary to hear? You did good. Like, thanks for building this. But also, I don't always agree with you, Gary. That's okay. There's so many things. I love Gary, and I think he's the reason why I found VeeFriends, but he's not the reason why I'm in VeeFriends. And I think that's okay. I think Gary and VeeFriends are two different things for me, and I love his content and what he built with VeeFriends and what's behind it. But I know that VeeFriends is going to be bigger than him one day. And I think that's okay, and I think it has to be that way if we really want it to be the big IP it is, or it's going to be. But that I appreciate so much that he started this IP and the people he brought in, and that he made sure that this was a community-led project. Because it just means more if it's that way. How do you think VeeFriends will evolve in the next 5 years? Gosh. I mean, the last 4 years they already were crazy building mode, and like just what happened already this year with Chrome and the PSA magazine, and now the collab with Curry, and gosh, in the next 5 years, it's gonna be nuts. I think a ton more people will know VeeFriends. I think a lot of the characters will be developed by then, and the stories of a lot of them will have been told, or at least quite a few, I hope, that people will start understanding that it's more than just an NFT project and more than just collectibles, that there's really something you can learn from this, and that VeeFriends has a bigger purpose. So I think in 5 years it will be much different because the community will be so much bigger. I'm excited. What's the legacy you hope to leave behind with your content and your VeeFriends journey? Holy shit, that's a big question. I think that I could be part of making the world better. I think that's always that's what I believe VeeFriends is about, that to make this world a better place. and I want to be part of that, and that's why I make content around VeeFriends and why I'm part of this community. I want that too, and I always said that you could either way build something or create something yourself to make this world better, or you can join something or somebody who already does and join hands with them, and I think that's what I do with my content. I'm in my own way representing what VeeFriends means, what it means to me, and what I think it can be and what it stands for. And that's why I do content. That I believe if VeeFriends keeps going and if these characters are developed and people really see the bigger purpose it has, that we can really change lives. It has changed my life, and the people I've met in this community, it has changed so many of their lives too. So I know if we can bring more people in and show them what VeeFriends and this community is really about, I think we can have a really big lasting impact on this world. How did you first discover VeeFriends and what pulled you in? I followed Gary's content on and off after I left my teaching job. I found his content through finance stuff, not even personal development stuff. Then got kind of into the personal development stuff he had and some of the business stuff. And he was opening cards on. He had his Twitch streams where he did podcast with friends, and they were opening cards, and I asked in the chat where do you find these cards, because you couldn't find them online, and somebody in the chat said they're on an app called Fanatics Live where they have live streams, and then next day it was in the stream again on Twitch, and another person said hey, they're live right now, and I jumped over, and then it was just so much fun with the community and everybody being welcoming and open and fun, and just instantly you felt connected and something you want to be around. And after just a couple streams, I knew I wanted to be part of this. What's one thing you've done because of VeeFriends that you never thought you'd do? Oh gosh, so many things. The content. I did content before on and off for different side hustles I started, but not as consistent as I do it now. I've never really put myself out as much as I do with VeeFriends. I sang and wrote songs. I never would have done that. I stream now on different platforms. I never thought I would do that. I have a Top Scrum sketch card, which is insane. I go to events now, which I've never thought I would do. I've done a lot of things through the encouragement of people in this community and just having kind of a safe space to just try things out and see what happens. So I've done a lot. So I'm very grateful for it. How do you support others in the space, and how do they support you? I hope that I'm able to support people by showing who I am and just being myself, and then hopefully encouraging and inspiring others to do the same. That it's okay to show up messy sometimes and cry sometimes and show all of your emotions. I try to be encouraging to others, and I write a lot of people, I'm a lot in DMs with people, just checking in on them and hoping that supports them. How do they support me? Oh gosh, where to start? I don't think I would be the person I am right now if I didn't have this community of, again, so many people who just support you and root for you and want you to be successful and want you to win. That gives you so much encouragement and strength and really inspires you to live up to your potential and just inspires you to be the best version of yourself. So I don't think I can thank people enough for their support in so many ways that I've gotten. So I hope I can give just a fraction of that back. What trait do you think is most needed in the world right now? Gosh, a lot of them. Common sense, respect, compassion, curiosity. I think curiosity is a big one. I if you're just curious about ourselves and why we do the things we do, if you're curious about others and why they act the way that they do, I think we would be much better off by understanding that people are not bad or have wrong opinions or something. We all just come from we have our own belief systems, we have our own backgrounds, we have our own experiences that we had, and that led us to who we are today and how we show up in the world. And I feel like if you are more curious about why others do things and like ask questions before judging them, you would understand them better and not be so negative in the world sometimes. And also for yourself, like if you are a very negative person and you're curious about why, you will usually find out that maybe you are surrounding yourself with the wrong people, or you're in a job you really don't like. So I feel like curiosity is something that will really help you understand yourself and others better, which will 100% make the world a better place. So curiosity. How would you want someone new to feel joining the community for the first time? Welcomed. I try to welcome as many people as I can, especially with Top Chrome and stuff. There were so many people coming in at the same time that it was hard to do that. And I think it's going to get harder as more people join rapidly. It's harder to welcome them like some of us were welcomed. But I always try to reach out to people, say hello, check in with them a couple times, ask them what they like, if they have like kids or family, and just lead them also. Like if they have kids, I will oftentimes send them like the cartoons so they can watch them and just show them which part of VeeFriends they probably would be most interested in. So yeah, sometimes it's just a hello that you notice them. I think one of the biggest needs people have is being heard and seen, and I feel like just a simple hello sometimes is all somebody needs to feel welcomed. If you had to live by one VeeFriend trait for a year, which would you pick? So many. I think again curiosity is good, but I think I am a curious person, so I'm not sure if I have to live another year, like an extra year with it. It would probably be one that I really need to learn. Focus is one of them. My focus is sometimes diluted in too many different things because I have so many ideas and I want to do them all. Gosh, so many traits. I'm trying to look around at characters I see. Which character do I have to spend more time with? To live with for a year. Maybe adventurous astronaut? I feel like I am. I have definitely become way more adventurous through VeeFriends, but I feel like I could go even more out of outgoing octopus. Yes, I am not an outgoing person. I am an introvert, half extrovert, depending on like if it's a topic I like to talk about, then I can be very extroverted, but I'm naturally an introvert, and it's not easy for me to approach people, especially at events, and I think sometimes that's holding me back of making new connections and really letting people see who I am, and it bothers me about myself. And so I think spending a year with outgoing octopus to take more chances. Yep. How has being part of the VeeFriends community impacted your real life? Again, I've met so many people. I've made so many friends. I've changed things around myself, about how I live my life. God, it impacted everything. My parenting, my relationship, my friendships, how I spend my days, what I spend my money and my time on. I don't think there has been a part of my life that hasn't been impacted by VeeFriends at this point, because I chose it to impact that much of my life. I don't think that's for everybody, but for me it's what I needed in my life, and that really drives me to reach more of my potential and get me out of my comfort zone. Has a VeeFriends trait ever changed how you handled a real life situation? Yes. A couple probably months ago, I was driving and somebody cut me off, and then they cut me off and then gave me the middle finger. And I think previously I would have been like middle finger back of like, dude, absolutely not, you cut me off and give me the middle finger, hello. But in that moment, empathy elephant came in my head. For me, it's super important that if I call myself a VeeFriend, I want to show up as one and I want to embody the traits as much as possible. And in that moment, empathy elephant popped up in my head, and just, if somebody cuts you off, they're in a hurry for whatever reason, maybe they're on their way to a job and they're late and they don't want to be fired, like, you don't know what people are going through. It doesn't mean they can be assholes, but I'm not in that person's situation. I don't know why the person did that. They were clearly not in a good space, and I have empathy for that sometimes you have a shitty day and you let it out on others, or again, not that it's right, it's just I don't know what kind of situation that person was in. So yeah, I am using VeeFriends in real life. I'm trying to really live up to these traits on a daily basis and embody what they mean. If you had to describe the VeeFriends community in 3 words, what would they be? Family, support, kindness. So many words. I mean, for me, it's everything. It's what VeeFriends is for me. You can take all the NFTs and collectibles away. If there's no community, I would be part of VeeFriends. It's what matters to me the most. It's what has the most impact on me and I think on others. So 3 words, it means everything. What's something you wish the VeeFriends community would talk about more? The traits, probably. It depends on like which part of the community you talk about. There's plenty of people who talk a lot about these traits, and you don't always have to talk about them, you just have to like live them more than anything. Probably also talk more about the things that aren't going so well. I think we're really good at sharing our wins, and we're still sometimes hesitant to share our losses, even though there's people who would support us, because it's vulnerable and it sounds like we're throwing ourselves a pity party. Don't get me wrong, there's people who like constantly share only the negative stuff and never the positive. Don't be like that either. But I feel like some people definitely have to learn to also share the negative and allow others to help them, because I feel like that's what friendship is about too, to be there for each other when it doesn't go so well. So maybe sharing the negative stuff too with each other. What does the VeeFriends community mean to you, honestly? Like I said, it means everything to me. Like, some of my best friends are part of the VeeFriends community that I didn't have before. That means having people who you can talk to, who are there for you, who support you, who differ from you, and who really can expand your horizon because they show you a different way of living, a different way of thinking, but in a way that's respectful. Most people. There's a handful where I'm just like, but you have those in every community. But the overall community, I feel like, is something I just needed in my life to become the Ann I'm now. How do you intentionally use the traits in your daily life? Intentionally. I feel like a lot of the stuff now happens unintentionally. It's part of me. But intentionally is definitely when I have a rough day or a harder day, I'm trying to use those traits. Or if somebody says something negative about me or a friend or something, I always try to go into empathy and compassion first and try to understand why they say something like that or where it's coming from. I think I definitely try to be very intentional in my responses. While my initial jerk reaction might be like, what the heck, dude? I'm now better at taking a step back and really thinking about how I want to show up. I do feel like with being very present in the community and making content, I do want to always make sure that I not just represent the best version of myself, but also represent VeeFriends in that moment. And that means making sure when I have a very high emotional reaction that I take a step back first before I react to something. I want to respond and not react. And sometimes that means taking a step back, evaluating if that's really what I believe, or is it just, does it trigger something in me? So I'm definitely more intentional in that part. What's one myth about the community that's just not true? It's one myth about the community that's just not true. That everybody's family. The sentences that we always say is strangers become acquaintances, acquaintances become friends, friends become family. While I do have family in this community, not everybody is. Some people will just stay acquaintances, some people will become friends, and some people will become family, and I think that's okay too. You still have to be respectful to each other, but I don't love everybody. Like, I like a lot of people, but there's people who I have a respectful conversation with, but they're just not my personality type that I want to surround myself with on a very regular basis. I have learned to really pick and choose who I surround myself with, and I think as much as this community is very positive, we do have some cynical cats or who are just more on the negative side, and while I do understand that these people need extra help and support to like get to a better place, I also know of myself that I have days where I can't take that in and just have to just guard myself and spend less time with those people, because I know it will bring me and my life down, and I don't want that for my life. You get one life and I want to live it the most positive and grateful that I can, and so I pick and choose very carefully who I let into my family. And so I think it's a myth that we're all family. We're not. There's parts and pockets that build with each other that become really close, but yeah, it's kind of the myth. What was your first VeeFriends collectible or NFT? My first collectible was a Series 2 pack on my first stream, and my first NFT was a VeeFriends NFT. It's the authentic anaconda in front of the Marathon Mountain. And I picked that one because authenticity is really important for me, and I feel like for a long time it's not that I wasn't authentic, but I didn't show all of me because I was afraid certain parts of me wouldn't be accepted. And by joining VeeFriends, it almost gave me like a new start, joining a community that didn't know me, of showing everything and just being myself and see what happens, and it paid off, just being myself. And I really like the Marathon Mountain because there's a path that goes up the mountain, and when I bought the NFT, I said that that mountain reminds me that when you look on top, you feel like you're going in circles because it goes around and around, and sometimes that's how it feels in life, like you go in circles. And if you change your perspective and you see the mountain from front, you realize that you were moving up. You weren't going in circles, you were moving up to where you were supposed to be. And that's how a lot of my life felt, that I felt like I'm just going in circles, I'm doing the same things and it's not leading to anything, and like I had to really learn to change perspective. So I still own that NFT and it will be with me for the rest of my life. What's a weird or funny inside joke only people in VeeFriends would get? Gosh, so many, which is probably one of my favorite parts. Inside jokes. As a couple, that Soggy is my bearded twin. The damn raccoon. That I wasn't at VCon 3. Gosh, there's so many inside jokes, which I love. Like, there's so many just don't make sense to anybody. How you shouldn't make jumping jacks in your backyard, right, Dom? Without the proper support. Man, there's so many. That's why I love, like, VeeFriends is really, it's friends hanging out and having fun together and just being silly sometimes, and I love that. So there's plenty of them. Which character feels most like you on the inside? I think the Harpic and the gorilla. I picked the Harpic. I always said, like, when I first picked my 3 characters, which I now have a different one, it was the Harpic because I felt that was me. I do believe I'm a thoughtful person, even though it's weird for me to say that out loud. I do believe I am. The gorilla was always how I felt about life in this community, and the panda was to be patient with myself and my journey. As of right now, I would say it's the Harpic and the gorilla. I think I will always be a thoughtful person. It matters to me that I put into consideration how others feel, and to make them feel heard and seen. That's always been important to me. But I feel like one thing that I've really learned is how important gratitude for me is, and that if I have a shitty day or just things are not going my way or just something happens, I feel like gratitude has always been something that has brought me back, of like looking at all the things I have versus all the things I don't have. And even if something bad happens, there's so much good and positive in my world that it outweighs the little thing that happened. So I feel like it's between the Harpic and the gorilla. If the traits were a personality test, what would your top 3 be? Personality test. So who I am. Again, the Harpic. I do believe I'm thoughtful. Gorilla for gratefulness. And giraffe for being genuine. Authentic anaconda. Sloth. I do believe I'm selfless. There's a lot. I think I can put that down into just 3. Yep. How would your life be different if you had fully embraced a certain trait earlier? Oh. That's always the thing, like, how would things be different? Do you want them to be different? Like, I'm happy where I am in life right now. And it's always tricky to say would you change something, because I don't know what my life would look like right now. I like my life how it is right now, so I'm not sure if I would change anything because I don't know what the outcome of the change would be, like the whole butterfly effect thing. But embrace a trait earlier. I don't know what trait specifically it would mean, but I was a perfectionist for the longest time. And I still have moments here and there where I fall into that pattern again. But it really held me back of trying things, exploring things, being myself. So maybe authenticity and authenticity. Being authentic, just me. And being okay that I'm not perfect and never will be. I wore perfectionism like a badge of honor, not understanding that it was negative for me and for the people around me. That while I got praise for being so good at all the stuff I did, I only did the stuff that I knew I was good at. I didn't try new things out of fear that I could look like I'm not good at something. It held me back of truly being me. Like writing a song and rapping, you know? Like, I know I'm not a good singer, but I also realized you don't have to be. You know, it can just be for fun, or it can just be for a joke. You don't have to be good at everything for it still to be good. So probably authenticity, to allow myself to just be myself. What role do you hope to play in the VeeFriends ecosystem long term? I want to be somebody people can come to and talk to. If you have a win you want to celebrate, if you have a shitty day and you want to talk to somebody. I want to be known for the traits, for embodying them. I don't just want to be known for having all the collectibles, or that I believed in something long before it was cool. I think that the traits are what's most important to me. As a mom and as a former teacher, social emotional development has always been super important to me, and leaving this world one day better than I found it. And I think if we really get these traits and how to embody them and how to live them better to the world, I think we can accomplish that. And that means when I leave this world one day, the generations after me and my kiddo and hopefully my grandkids one day will live in a better world. So I feel like I want to be known as somebody who brought to people what VeeFriends really meant, and how it is fun and exciting and filled with people who really care. What trait do you think people underestimate or overlook? So many. Fearlessness. That it doesn't mean that you have no fear, it just means you go past it, that you have doubts and fears, but you do it anyways. That there's never will be a perfect moment. Respect. It's because it's my raccoon. I think respecting yourself and your boundaries, and respecting others, and respecting what they do and what they don't do, I think is super important. I feel like there's a lot of entitlement these days of what, just because somebody is online or somebody has a business doesn't mean they owe you something. Respect also on like how we talk to others and how we talk to ourselves sometimes is extremely underrated and overlooked. Gosh, so many things. Again, I always come back to like my favorite characters too. Like, again, gratitude is a big one. Of if once you understand how many good things you have and you really look at the bright side of things, it doesn't mean like this toxic positivity, but it's like really look at like the amount of people you have in your life, and that you have a roof over your head and you have food every day and you have water every day. Like, there's so many people who just don't have that. And I'm not talking even about like third world countries. I'm just like people down the street who don't know if they're still gonna have a home next week and stuff like that. Like, if you have food on the table every day, if you have a safe bed to sleep in each night without being afraid to lose the place you live in, or that you're gonna be hurt, I think you live a pretty amazing life. And we forget that because we lived in such a good sheltered life for so long, that the little things mean so much more to us than they should sometimes. Is there a trait you struggle with but want to develop more? Like I said earlier, focus and organization. It's always been tough for me with my ADHD. For the longest time I didn't know I had ADHD and just thought I couldn't get my shit together. Now I know that my brain just works different. I think focus is something that my kryptonite and superpower at the same time is having ideas. I have tons of them every day, and why I love that and why it's what a lot of people know me for. It's also a kryptonite in the sense of I go in so many different directions all the time and have a harder time just sitting down and focusing on one thing, and like really have to make myself. And sometimes I need outside help. I will tell people or will openly say that I'm working on this project, and by saying it openly, I now put the pressure of the outside world on me that now you have to do it because others are watching you. And that's still, I guess to some degree, still important to me, that it helps me. I've learned to use that to focus on one thing and get it done and then move on to the next thing, versus being in 10 projects at the same time. There's days where I love that and I need that because my brain is so busy all the time, but sometimes I feel like it's holding me back to really reach my full potential. So I think focus. If you had to pitch VeeFriends to a room of skeptics in 60 seconds, what would you say? Oh gosh, my biggest nightmare. My VeeFriends elevator pitch is the worst because I get so excited talking about VeeFriends that I stumble over my words and I mumble and I want to bring up everything at the same time, and it's awful. It's easier for me if I kind of see what that person is about. Like Comic-Con last year was fun because if I saw a parent, I knew I would bring up the social emotional traits and the cartoons and stuff like that and the book. So I knew exactly what I wanted to tell them, versus if it's just a person in their 30s and I have no clue who they are, then it's really hard for me. Do I bring up the NFT side of it? Do I bring up the trades? Do I bring up the collectibles? So it's easier for me if I have a little bit of something that I should go off. But VeeFriends in 60 seconds, especially with skeptics. I have to work on that. I don't think in 60 seconds skeptics would. They would be probably arguing about it or something. I don't know. I guess I need to work on this one. I'm awful at my elevator pitch. What's one thing you wish more people understood about VeeFriends? That you can take out of it what you need. I love the trades and those are important to me, but I don't judge people who are only in it for the NFT. I don't judge people who are only in it for the collectibles and for arbitraging. That's not my world, that's not what I want out of it, but I understand that for some people that's more important right now because they need to make money or they whatever it is, but that you can use VeeFriends however it's most important for you. And for me, I need that community feeling. I need those traits. I want to embody them. I want to become a better person. I want to show on a daily basis what it means to live those traits in front of my daughter so that she can learn by seeing it versus just me telling her. So I think take out of VeeFriends what you need. How do you stay grounded when new drops or hype moments happen? I'm just recently learning that. In the beginning, I definitely went a little too hard and went into every drop and every collectible. I needed them all. But now, having been in it for like not quite a year and a half, also know there's going to be another drop and you can't have them all. It's just financially not possible. But also now that I have my favorite characters, I really go more into my personal PC of like what is important to me, what do I want to talk about, what do I want to show others. So I feel like now it's easier for me to just go for the things that really are part of my personal PC versus having to have it all. I'm gonna let my dog out. And we're back. How do you explain VeeFriends to someone who really doesn't get it? Again, it depends on the person. I think it's so much easier if you have something to go off of. Like, let's say they like collectibles, then I would go into like how this is a collectible that can rise over time. If it's somebody who has kids, I would go into that this is a great tool for teaching kids about social emotional development instead of just sitting them down and telling them. It's something you can show them on a daily basis. If it's somebody who is big into crypto and NFTs, then I would show them how these NFTs really have utilities more than most other NFT projects. So I think I would like to learn a little bit more about the person first to explain them what VeeFriends can mean. There's so many parts that you can take out of VeeFriends in your personal life that could help you emotionally, financially, building community. Like, so many people have made friends in this community that they really needed. They have made connections that now help them in business. So I think knowing who's in front of you and what their needs are maybe right now is going to help you explain VeeFriends better and show them how it can help you. What's one moment in the VeeFriends community that made you feel seen or appreciated? All the time. Said it earlier, I've gotten so much love in this community from the community as well as the team that I don't always know if I deserve it or not. And it's not like there's so many people in VeeFriends who are such amazing and kind people, and sometimes I feel because I'm more willing or have gotten past that fear of showing myself on camera, I get sometimes more love or shout outs because people see me more. So that's always a tough one. I feel extremely seen and appreciated. I also know I worked for who I am within the community by showing up every day and being kind to everyone and working hard and never asking for anything. I know that I earned what I've been given, but it still feels weird sometimes to get the appreciation because I think a lot of us didn't necessarily grow up like that. I definitely didn't. It's also like the culture I grew up in. It was you just worked hard and period. There wasn't like a thank you for it. It's what you do, period. So getting the appreciation and being seen for it is still sometimes like a weird, uncomfortable thing. Because especially now that I really just learn to be myself and show who I am, it's like, so people just appreciate you for just being you, but I didn't do anything, I'm just myself. So that just feels weird, because I feel like, again, a lot of us grew up like, you got appreciation and stuff if you did something like super amazing, out of this world, crazy helpful, versus you just make a couple silly videos, so I feel extremely seen and appreciated. I have a hard time accepting it sometimes, but I appreciate it. What's one piece in your collection that holds sentimental value? Gosh, so many things. Recently I really started to collect and make it my personal PC to have a lot of the raccoons, and it's not even like the building of the rainbow, it's the personal cards. I have a lot of personalized Raccoon Series 2 cards and Series 1 card as well, that just mean so much to me. Like little notes on them, or people drew on them, or added gemstones, and those things have all super sentimental value. But I also have a couple of signed cards from other characters that are other people's characters. Like Soggy's first Whatnot stream, I have a signed card. I have a card signed by Rob Messer when we opened a To the Moon box on a None to the Moon stream. So he signed a Bold as Fuck Bed. I have a signed Ezra card. I have a Courtney card. I have a Rips card, which is a really funny one too, which is called Adam. I have a lot of sentiment, and those things mean the most to me. Like, they mean more to me than any of the one-on-ones or anything else. They're just, because those are the stories, those are the people who make you want to be here. So I have lots of them. If you had to rebuild your collection from scratch, what would you get first? My Series 1 Raccoon. I have a Series 1 Raccoon card that is signed by Gary and Adam. I think that's probably the first thing I would have gotten to match, because it matches my Series 1 NFT. Yeah. Because Series 1 is the alpha. What collectible do you regret not buying when you had the chance? The Fearless hat. When the first 6 Friends caps dropped, I didn't wear hats that often. Now I wear them all the time. but I only bought the dedicated one and the ambitious one because I don't buy cabs that I don't embody that trait. And at that point, I didn't feel fearless. I didn't get the outgoing one because I'm not. I have the unwavering, but I've never worn it. It wasn't. I just didn't feel fearless. And now I wish I would have gotten it. I wouldn't pay that as much as they're going for now, like never in the world. But now I feel like I had to learn that fearlessness doesn't mean you don't have fear. It just means you do it anyways. And that's something I really learned within VeeFriends. I've just do it anyways. Like, don't care as much what other people think or like that you might look silly. Just go for it. And so the fearless hat is one of the things I regret not getting. What does conviction mean to you when it comes to this brand? I think my big conviction play are two things. One was getting my Series 1 NFT. It was a big purchase, and that was really not really to show the outside, but to show myself that I believe in this. That this is one of the biggest investments, one-time investments that I've done in myself and in something else. That I was ready to say I'm all in. I'm in. I understand it and I get it and I want to be part of it. And I think the second conviction play for me was starting to make content around it full time. That I know this IP is still small, which means I'm not gonna have a big following. Like I could have made like content around Pokemon or Disney or any other IP and would have gotten followers way faster because there's already this big community around it. So knowing that it's not going to be about the followers for me for a long time because it's going to take this IP to grow, but that I'm not doing it for building up a big following, but just showing the world what VeeFriends means and me believing in it. But it also meant that now that I make content around it full time, I'm also associated with VeeFriends, which means if they do something stupid, it also kind of comes back to me because I talk so much about it and so positively about it, that if they make a wrong move, if they make a wrong step, if it ceases to exist tomorrow, then that has an impact on what I do. So, and I had to be okay with that. So, which was important for me to really get to know the team better. So I feel like Comic-Con was a big part for that. Being able to watch the team in the element and just how they interact with each other and with the community and like strangers was a big conviction thing for me to see how they just stayed kind and just excited about sharing what VeeFriends is. So the conviction belief for me means like I believe in what they're trying to build and I believe in that they can do it if they just stay the course at what they're doing right now. But yeah, it's my conviction. What's a VeeFriend moment you think about more than you'd like to admit? Gosh, a VeeFriends moment that I think more about than I'd like to admit. I don't know if it's really about like more than to admit. Again, there's so like meeting the people for the first time was a big deal for me. It's lots of moments. It's a VeeFriends moment you think about more than you'd like to admit. It sounds like it's a negative thing, but like the way the question is. I don't like negative things, so I'm going to take it the positive way. Gosh. Again, I think VeeCon, meeting everybody in person and being able to talk to them was a really big deal to me. Meeting Adam for the first time was really cool, especially because it took us an entire day to finally make it happen. To just make these connections in person after seeing people just on stream for the longest time and just behind screen names, and then being able to actually see them in person and say hi and hug them and having like real conversations. I think those moments I think about a lot, how special they are, because they're sadly rare. How has your definition of success changed since becoming part of VeeFriends? Success isn't numbers anymore. It's quality over quantity. That I rather have, not sure if that's changed as much, but I think I've always been that way, that I rather have a handful of friends, but friends who really believe in me and who are good for me. It has changed in the definition that everybody, that you have to define success for yourself. That for some people that might mean a lot of money in the bank, and for others it means having a community like this. People who believe you, not believe you, but believe in you, and who want to be part of your life and who appreciate you, I think is a bigger success than having a helicopter in your backyard. Yeah, I think it has changed for me that success has to be defined for yourself. That whatever success means for you, you have to go for, and not look at others what success for them means. Just because I don't have thousands of followers on my accounts, I still feel extremely successful, because the followers or friends that I do have on those socials are people who actually believe in me, who cheer for me, who I call friends. And I feel like that's a bigger success than somebody who has millions of followers who they don't know. How have you ever had FOMO in the VeeFriends world? What was it about? Oh yeah, in the beginning all the time. I mean, it's every time there's a break you want to buy in, and you think it's like your character could come out, and like there's always a little bit of FOMO, especially from, again, like bringing up the ADHD. ADHD can be a tricky thing within VeeFriends and things like streams and breaks, because of the adrenaline and the having a hard time controlling your impulses. And so it's definitely something I'm still learning. I've gotten much better at, but also being in it long enough now that I know there's going to be another drop, and I can always get it later on secondary, that it's not as important for me anymore to have everything, because I also see what happens if you buy everything. You have a lot of stuff and fill a lot of houses in your room. So yes, I've definitely had lots of FOMO, and bought into things I probably shouldn't have. Not because I felt like I was FOMO'd into it, it was me not being able to control my impulses in that moment. But I'm getting better at it. Do you collect based on traits, rarity, character, or vibe? And why? I collect now based on character and trait. I definitely slimming down what my personal PC will look like and what I want to keep. I mean, part of me always like wants to keep a lot of the stuff because I know it's going to appreciate over time, and like maybe it's not the right time yet to sell some of the stuff because it's going to go up as the IP grows. But it's also like, do I really need all this stuff in my house versus just having my PC and using that money of selling stuff now to, you know, pay off things like credit cards and stuff. But I definitely collect by rarity / character. Not rarity, sorry, trait and character. Like that's the most important for me. Who is someone in the VeeFriends community that's changed your journey? Gosh, where do I start? So many. Gosh, seriously, I don't even know where to start. With community, I think the team for me is community too, so I'm gonna include both. Soggy for just being there when I need somebody to bounce ideas off or have my crazy moments, or just need somebody to just vent. We had a very similar entry to VeeFriends as I did, and so we understood each other very early on. Michelle or so for just showing me to just be myself and just pushing me out of my comfort zone. To the Moon and Mr. Messer for just pushing me out of my comfort zone and getting me on streams and believing in me and wanting me to be part of their journeys, and through that getting a lot of more eyes on me and who I am and allowing me to show who I was. Gosh, so many people. I don't even know where to start. Mike JY, it's just K-Save, so many people. There's like the kindness, there's people behind the scenes that don't want to be named who have helped me immensely. Who are not as active in the VeeFriends community, but VeeFriends. Man, so many people on the team too that have become friends over time. A ton of people. I wouldn't be the end back without the community, period. I just wouldn't. Trying to make it through this without crying. Which VeeFriends trait has impacted your life, your real life, the most, and how? Again, it always comes back to gratitude for me. Being grateful for things changes everything for you. Again, the thing is, like, so many traits built into each other. I think patience is a big one for me. Through my personal development journey, I've learned who I am and who I'm not. But also, if you lived a certain way for so long, it's really hard to change your habits and like how you do things. And so sometimes I get really frustrated with myself of like, Ian, you're no better than that. But knowing how to do something and really rewiring yourself of doing things a different way now takes time. If you do something for decades a certain way, you're not gonna change them overnight just because you know it's not good for you. So I think patience with myself and with my journey, that just because I know how to do things different now or how to think different now doesn't mean it's gonna happen overnight. So I think having patience with that, and also having patience with when it comes to the content creation or anything like that, I'm so fresh in it and I'm so early in it that, of course, like sometimes you look at these younger people who have all the time in the world because they don't have partners or families or a mortgage to pay, and they can be way more outgoing and just like go for it and riskier, and like sometimes you're like, oh man, if I just would have found this earlier, like where could I be now? But also just be like, but just because I found what I really love later in life doesn't mean it's over. You know, I still have plenty of time. Okay, I would say I'm still a baby. How do you track or display your collection? Track, I don't really think I track things. I've gotten better at like organizing and knowing where everything is and what I have of everything. To also know like what do I want to keep and what do I want to move on from. I've gotten much better at like displaying things, and I have 2 offices that I display them in. And because I don't want them to just collect dust, so I try to have them out and like doing streams and stuff like that to really make them be part of my life. I framed some of the art pieces and stuff, so I really want it to be part of my life. If you could invent a new VeeFriends collectible, what would it be? Definitely something with a raccoon. Ooh, I have something that I don't think it's a new collectible, but I really want the Respect Raccoon Friends cap to be like a gray, the same color as the Adam Lister collab, the hoodie, that gray, in a corduroy, and it doesn't say respectful, it just says respect in a white font, like in this type of font. That would be, if we could make that happen, that would be awesome. A new collectible. I mean, there's already cards and stickers and pins, and I wasn't really a collector before. Maybe as a kid a little bit more, but a new collectible. I think I would like the opposite, actually. I would like to be more things that are not collectibles, that are just VeeFriends things and more mass produced, so it's more affordable and in more households. Probably things around kids' cups, like that they can have, and That'll be cool. What's one collectible you think will age really well long term? The comics. Again, the stories of early on the character development, I think is something that's will age really well over time. The cards for like Series 1, Series 2, and then the first Chrome set. Because each of them was like their first set of things. I think they will age really well. I think that's kind of it's probably more. But yeah, I think those. Maybe even the Friends caps. I really like the caps and they're really cool. And that you can't get them anymore at some point or just secondary. So like people who come into the ecosystem in like 3 years and then they're a character and you want your cap. So I think that would be kind of another thing. What's your process when a new collectible product or collectible is announced? In the past I was like, okay, how many can I get of them? Now it's more, do I really need it? I know certain things I wear or don't wear. I love the 5x5 shirts, but they're not necessarily a good female cut for me and my body type. So I will only get characters that are close to what I like. Same with the Friends caps, I love them, but I also can only wear so many hats. I'm only gonna get the ones I really, really, really want, and that just color-wise fit to me. And isn't really something I want to have in my PC. So I've definitely become more, not the instant FOMO, and more thinking about, do you really want this? Is it gonna make your life richer, better, more exciting? And if the answer is no, then it's okay if I don't have it. What's your biggest VeeFriends win, financial or emotional? If you know me, I'm always gonna go the emotional way. My biggest emotional win is just gaining so many friends. And people I would have never met otherwise. People who just mean so much to me and who really help me show me and myself who I am and also who I'm not, and that's okay. I don't have to be everything for everybody. It's the people that came with VeeFriends. That them allowing me to be myself and then being celebrated for that, I think is the biggest emotional win. That I almost made it through the whole thing without crying. Don't have to be anybody else, that I can just be myself, and that's okay. Have you ever considered leaving the project? Why or why not? Oh shit. It's funny, it's question 11, which is my number. Yes. I'm still not ready to share the whole story, because there's a couple things I still have to figure out. I almost left VeeFriends beginning of this year. Not because of VeeFriends. Nobody did anything. It was personal things going on with me that I had to still have to change and fix. And I felt the only way out was to focus on myself and leave VeeFriends. And it's hard to understand why without the whole backstory, but I'm not ready to share that yet. But I almost did. And what kept me back was my sketch card. Gosh. Again, I almost made it through here. I have to deal with something, and I felt the only way out was to leave VeeFriends and fully just focus on myself and fixing something. And the day I made the choice which was really, if you know me, you know how much I love VeeFriends, which was really, really hard for me to make that choice. But the day I made that choice, I got a message from Adam Rips, who had never messaged me before, asking if we could jump on a call the next day. Oh. And I almost had to take the call. And then, gladly I did. And he told me about that that they're gonna have a sketch artist from the community in Top Scrum, and that they want me to be part of it. And that was, for me, I truly believe in that the I'm not religious, but I believe in the universe sending you signs of which way to go, which path to take. And that was, for me, the universe telling me, you're not supposed to be done here. You're not supposed to be leaving VeeFriends. That leaving VeeFriends is not the way out of the situation you are in. Find a different way. And I did leave. And so many things wouldn't have happened. That Chromeside would have never existed. It came after. So many things would have never happened. So yes, I almost left the project. And that little sketch cut over there, so it brought me back. So let's make it to the last 4. If you could go back to your first day in VeeFriends, what advice would you give yourself? You don't need to buy everything. I think that's one of the things I'm still learning, that I don't need to have it all. I don't need to be buying everything to show that I'm part of this. That it's okay to let some things go. Yeah. Yep. How do you decide what's worth flipping versus keeping? For the longest time I didn't sell anything, and now I'm just getting more into like getting my finances in check and selling some stuff. But I think what's worth flipping or like keeping is like I'm only gonna keep my PC, like the characters I really care about, and then things like the comics. Like again, like the traits are important for me, my characters are important for me, and that's what I'm gonna keep. There's gonna be a couple of things that I feel like in the long run will appreciate a lot, and that I still probably hold on to a little bit longer. But for the other part, like I don't need to have 10,000 of the same cards. I just don't. There's other people who could use them and like build their sets and like use them for their kiddos and introduce them to it. So now it's really more my personal PC and what's really matters to me. Have you made any real life friends through VeeFriends? Have I? Oh gosh, some of my best friends. A lot. Okay, last question. What's one VeeFriends decision you're really proud of? One VeeFriends decision you're really proud of. Like a decision I made at VeeFriends? Probably to show myself. To go full in and show that I want to be part of this in my own way. But like by making content around the IP, it's my way of showing what I believe VeeFriends is. To encourage people to try it out, to check it out, but to at the same time also make people who are already part of it feel seen and heard, and like they still want to be part of it, that they are part of the foundation of what this IP means. So I'm proud of putting myself out there, and that sometimes comes with negativity and with self-doubt, and it comes with a lot of work, putting yourself out every day. But I'm also proud of doing it because it has allowed me to meet a ton more people. and have conversations that really made me grow and in so many ways, and open doors for me that I never even knew existed. So I think believing in myself was probably the best decision I ever made. That was 55 questions about VeeFriends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was interesting for me to answer some of these. I would encourage you to do the same with VeeFriends or anything else you do in your life. Just ask ChatGPT to ask you 55 questions about something you were into and see what happens. Thanks for listening. VeeFriends.